Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 15, One Door Closes. I definitely love this episode. It was definitely, I think this is actually a real high point for this season. I think after everything that's happened with Skye getting her powers and them kind of branching into the enhanced slash Inhumans area of the Marvel Universe, the show has definitely been getting very interesting because a lot of questions have been coming up. It hasn't been like we gotta fight against Hydra now that S.H.I.E.L.D's destroyed and stuff like that. It's like we have to figure out, what S.H.I.E.L.D. really is and, what it's going to be doing and how things have to change for S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's, they've been doing that ever since, Nick Fury sort of left his position and gave it to Coulson. But it's really changed after, one of their own team members, obviously Skye, was affected by this change and she became an Inhuman. And so we have Inhumans introduced into the show. We have the enhanced characters like her father and the people that he was working with in the one episode. And now we have like real S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the craziness that, they've got going on, them attacking the base in this episode. And it was just a fun episode to watch that really split everything up. It was almost like watching Hydra take over S.H.I.E.L.D. again, honestly, because it was like everything, when that happened, everything changed. It was like we only have this, we only have that, we lose a lot of people, so it was very similar to that, where a lot of the members were captured in this episode. They lost Skye because she was about to be captured and she was taken away by Gordon, who every time he's in an episode, I love his character. Like he's just like such a calm and collected character. He's like just a really cool character and stuff. So every time he comes in, it's always like someone's got guns on them. They're about to get hit by a car or this or that, and it's just like, hey, what's up? And then they just teleport out, and it's like no big deal to him. And I always find that kind of funny, and just it's kind of cool for his character. But it was a great episode. Like we got to see another side of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Hydra started to take over during the events of Captain America 2. And that was really cool. We got to see Bobby and Mac, and we even got to see Hartley come back. So Lucy Lawless was able to reprise her role because, unfortunately, she got killed off in like the first episode, which I think disappointed a ton of people. I'm pretty sure it definitely disappointed me because I like Lucy Lawless. Her character is definitely cool. We got to see more of her character being really cool in this episode, where she doesn't even really tend to use guns. She's like using her knife and she's like beating up people. And we got the one scene where she was fighting like two people in the little hallway and stuff, and I thought that was a great little scene and stuff. But it was really cool, and I thought it would be an awesome episode if the whole thing was flashbacks. But I'm glad it wasn't, because I was, even in the beginning, I was like, it would be sweet if it was that way, because it could be a cool action episode. But ultimately, it would just be a backstory. It wouldn't really further the narrative, for the present or anything. So I was glad it was split up between that and kind of the three little stories of the flashback. Kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. versus S.H.I.E.L.D. in the present, as well as Skye figuring out her powers and really learning about who she is and what she is, especially when Gordon came in to talk to her and kind of convince her, like, hey, your powers don't need to be suppressed, you can definitely manage them. And obviously he's coming from a totally different world than she's coming from. Was when he got his powers, he was embraced by her mother and everything like that. But he's trying to be that right now. He's trying to be that supportive mentor character where it's like, you can do this because, we all have already. You just have to, kind of follow my footsteps and you'll be perfectly fine. You'll be powerful and, you won't be a danger to yourself or your friends. And they don't need to fear you or do anything bad to you, which, they have, because she's like in the cabin. Which was built by Bruce Banner, and he made that himself for himself when he turns into the Hulk. So that was kind of a cool little moment when Skye finds that she's actually in a bunker. And initially I just thought she's in a cell and she'd kind of be upset about that, where she'd kind of peel all the panels back and realize that she's inside of just another room like she was on the bus. And it's similar, but it was definitely meant to hold someone incredibly powerful, and that's what they did with her character. It was kind of, they sent her away because she's potentially dangerous. It's not that obviously she wants to hurt anyone, but she was hurting herself with her own powers. Then obviously what could happen to other characters. So it made sense that she was sent there. But it was a cool little nod to the Hulk and stuff with the giant fist imprint and things like that. But it was such a cool episode. Like, we got the cool action, and there was a lot of story elements put into the flashbacks, because we got to see that the guy Gonzalez, who's currently taking over like the real Shield, he felt the same way as Fury did back then. He was the guy who followed the orders. He was the one who, if he was told to do this, then that's what he did. If the director says, jump, you jump as high as he tells you to jump. So it was actually kind of cool to see that, Bobby and Gonzalez were kind of in the same mindset, but they had to be convinced. Well, mostly Bobby. Like, Gonzalez wasn't convinced at all until, after the whole flashback portion had actually ended. But, like Mac and Harley, they're like, we can take back things. People have already taken back the top of the ship, and yeah, they're like, 14 other levels, but, if we blow up this ship, we're just going to kill dozens of our own people who potentially could survive. Even if we didn't, they could. So we should at least fight back and try to help them survive and stuff like that. So it was definitely cool. It was a nice little element of the story to see how they kind of banded together. It was definitely pretty cool. So I love that of course, the current stuff with real Shield taking out Shield was definitely really cool to see. And Gemma was awesome in this episode when she took out Bobby, and she was like saying like, "Oh, we got to find this and that," and she put the little things in her hands together, and took her down. And then we had the scene with Mac coming in, and I knew that's how they were gonna do it. I'm like, they have to do it where it's like Mac and Fitz run into each other and they kind of have their conversation, because of course Mac was the one who kind of really bonded with Fitz after everything that happened, because most of the main cast knew what he was like in the first and second season, or in the first season. So it's just like it's kind of it was definitely interesting. So it was a different relationship between them, and I was excited to see how that played out. And ultimately, Mac did end up saving Fitz from backing up to the wall that was about to explode, and now Fitz and Simmons are kind of working together to figure out what's inside this box. And I feel like what's going to happen is they're going to do as much as they can to, for themselves, and figure out, okay, this is what's here that we didn't already know, and this is what we'll take from that and give to, real Shield, so that they can feel like they've been satiated for what information they're looking for. But everyone's trapped inside it. Well, Fitz, Simmons, and May, they're trapped inside. Coulson's now off with Hunter, which I thought was actually a pretty cool ending. He's kind of off by himself, and Hunter decided, he's going to join the team, and he's like, consider this my contract for a permanent position. So it's going to be the two of them now. Skye's been taken off by Gordon after using her powers, which was a really awesome scene when she did that. I thought it was going to be like, okay, she, stopped the bullet and did like a bit of a shockwave. I thought it was going to be like 10 feet or something, and that joke was like 50 feet. It blew up like 5 trees. The one guy got stabbed in the arm, and he already didn't want to help Skye anyway. He was just going to shoot her with the actual gun, so he obviously didn't care to begin with, and this is just going to push him even more towards that, I gotta kill her, drive. And Bobby has now seen that, and she's obviously trying to be the advocate, like she's working with Real Shield, but she spent enough time to know these characters. She knows Skye, and she knows that she's not a bad person. She knows that Skye's just dealing with superpowers that she can't control, and she obviously didn't even ask for. So I don't know how things are going to play out with Bobby. She may actually end up, switching to, I guess, regular S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't even know how to classify it, but S.H.I.E.L.D., compared to Real S.H.I.E.L.D. And it should be interesting. Like, I don't know if she's going to need to be convinced. I think Mac might kind of stay in his zone. He kind of just he seems like he's really set in his zone. And I think the thing that separates Bobby is the fact that she seems to have a higher ranking than Mac. Like, I know they both work for them, but Bobby is always the one who seems to talk with the heads of the table and stuff like that. So she's the one asking for permission to go on certain missions all the time, and Mac is just like, this is it, and he kind of does his own thing, but she's always kind of jumping around and has to ask, like, all right, I request to go on this mission as well as this mission, which you obviously wouldn't have asked me to go on before. So she's in a very different position where she kind of nudges things a little bit by asking to go on certain missions, because she wants things done a certain way, and admittedly they don't really care the way that she does, like about Skye, obviously, because if she wasn't there, they would have just been trying to shoot her, and that's all there was to it. But she said, like, Skye is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent like us, so ICERs only, and the other guy just didn't give a crap. So she's gonna be in this. She's already in this odd position right now, where she cares about Skye enough to want to protect her, but she's still working for real Shield, and they have to. She kind of has to do what they say, and in a sense, at least, she has to kind of work with them and do what they tell her to do. So I don't know how things are gonna really turn out for her character, kind of being pushed into this sort of let's just go gung ho and do this and do that compared to what she wants to do after getting to know everyone. But it should be exciting. I'm definitely excited to see it. We have, like I said, this is very similar, and I guess it's kind of ironic. The flashback was like the day Shield fell. It was a huge parallel to what they're doing right now with real Shield attacking Shield and saying like Coulson, his motives are bad and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see where things go. We have Skye gone, Shield being taken over, so Fitz, Simmons, and May, they're all trapped. And then, of course, we have Coulson and Hunter kind of off doing their own thing. Who knows, what safe houses they have and what tech might be in those safe houses and stuff. So I'm definitely excited to see where things end up in these three different storylines and how the characters develop to what just happened in this episode with, being ripped away, especially for Skye. She was already placed in a weird situation, and now she's been ripped away from that after really having a show of force with her abilities. So I just can't wait to see how things play out. She may or may not also run into her father because he was taken by Gordon, I believe it was 2 episodes ago, and I don't know how close the proximity is going to be to like the temple or wherever it is that they're at. So she may end up running into him, which may not have a positive effect on her powers, because for obvious reasons with her father. But I'm definitely excited to see how things play out. Of course, I love this episode, but I want to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and what is going to happen after Real Shield has come in to take out Coulson and the team. They've all been split up. Skye's been detached even more so from the team. She's separated and she's now with Gordon, and that seems like it's going to be a big focus in the next episode is who is Gordon and kind of his backstory, more on him, which I'm definitely excited to get because like I said, I like his character. But there are just so many facets to what's going to happen. The stuff with May, Fitz, and Simmons and how they're going to act as prisoners in their own base and things like that. So I'm excited for it. Like I said, though, I want to know what you guys think. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.